we got our first sponsor. Shout out to Cool Joshy Promotions. LL Cool Joshy, your favorite promoter, our favorite promoter. Go check them out throughout the week, the weekends. Spade Lounge, Crown Lounge, LL Cool Joshy, my guy, your guy. Go show him love. Go have a good time. One. And just like that, I'm back in the mix. See if I still remember how to do this thing. What's going on, y'all? Deek be knowing, episode 10. Thought You Should Know podcast. The hiatus is over. I'm back in the studio. Listen, man. Or motherfuckers be stuck. You know what I'm saying? I'm back in the country. Let's put that on for anybody that saw my struggles in Colombia last week as far as getting back to America is concerned. I'm here. Took me 2 days longer than I wanted it to, but I was here. We gonna get right into that from the get go. So, was in Medellin, Colombia, a week and a half ago for a week. It was only supposed to be 5 days. Ended up being a week. So I'm down there, groomsman's trip. My brother K, he's getting married. Sheesh, 3 weeks now. But he's doing a local wedding, so he wanted the fellas to do something internationally since that's local. Cool. We go do that. We get everything, the Airbnb booked, everything. We think we got everything handled well ahead of time. Yeah, we was wrong. We was big wrong. Started off with our first Airbnb being a nightmare. So let me get into this.
Oh, wait,
straight.
You said first Airbnb?
The first Airbnb. Yes. Mind you, it was supposed to be a first and only Airbnb. Right. So, yeah. Yes. The first Airbnb. So let me get into this now. We book beware of international Airbnb catfish, people. So when I say this, you know when you're going through those shots, these are well manicured, productions. When you're going through those pictures and you're going through that slideshow of this is what this is, and these are amenities that we offer, bang, bang, bang. If you know anybody that's been to that country, check and see if they dealt with the property manager through that Airbnb. We didn't do our due diligence, and we actually know somebody that has stayed with them. And as we were complaining about it online, they saw the house, and they're like, oh, yeah, he's bull. Y'all went to Bull House. He bullshit. All his properties, all his Jones bullshit, and he going to find something to upcharge y'all on. So we'll get to that part. He was spot on. So the house was in it was like a private estate in like a mountain in Medellin, gated off, everything.
Yeah, fenced in, right?
Yes.
All right.
On the pull up looks beautiful.
Right.
On the outside looks beautiful. Beautiful country. So, but nonetheless, we get here. This is going to be a house that could sleep up to 10. There was only 5 or 6 of us initially, right? So the actual house has like 5 rooms, and then there was an outhouse that was like separated by the driveway, which was a huge driveway. But nonetheless, the outhouse. So he's like, oh, no worry. So we go into the outhouse. So anybody that went on the trip, I coined the outhouse the F. That John, when you went to the outhouse, bro, it was just a mattress, walls, and a window. And it was 5 straight bedrooms of this. Shit's like a fucking hostel. I'm like, oh, this shit like being upstate road. I'm like, it's like the F. So that F was crazy. So we got 4 more people coming in 2 days. We like, yo, we can't ask these dudes after they paid their money to sleep in here. Like, you know what I mean? They on vacation too. We can't do them like this. So we got to find a new place before they get here. Dog, the F was nuts. Like, we got video footage of the F. I'll drop it in a story or something at some point, man. The F was insane. But aside from that, the house, it just was like, they did many, like, we think like it's a nightclub in the basement, all this stuff. I mean, the stuff that was in the pictures was there. Right. It just wasn't how it looked in the pictures. So we were also supposed to have a chef for days. So he was supposedly went shopping right before we got there for food. So as we kind of pulled the fast one. So we knew that he was going to try and BS us and try and get us to stay in the house if we had like said something. He was going to try and come and correct things. It wasn't enough correcting. It wasn't no correcting he could have did in the world that would have made us happy. So we went behind his back with Airbnb and got another situation situated before we just told him we was rolling out.
Yeah, you have to. You have
Yeah,
to.
that's how you got to do it, y'all. Don't report to them. No, this isn't this. This isn't that. Because you're gonna still end up in. You're gonna still be in that house for the remainder of your trip, and you're just gonna be sad. Don't do it to yourself. Get everything situated before you realize I'm pulling the plug. I'm blowing this shit up. So when we get to this point, he got once we made the call like, yo, we rolling. Like, you should come to the house so we can square everything away. He sends his security first into the complex. So he don't say nothing to nobody. He just comes and sits in the kitchen. I'm like,
wait, security came in?
I'm like, here we go with the nut shit, right? Okay. So I tell my man, like, you peep my, I peep it. I said, man, just tell this nigga to get his balls here so we can pay this clown and we can roll.
Yep.
So we were there for 2 days. He's talking about, yeah, you know what, you guys had catered dinner for 2 nights and we're like, no, we didn't. Yeah, well, we got this, that, and the third. We're like, we didn't get none of that. He's like, all right, well, regardless of any of that, between your chef fee and your grocery fees, no, that's gonna be about $1,300. We said, man, you out of your fucking mind. So we like, yeah, go find us the dude who went shopping to get us that receipt.
Right.
We like, huh? We like, go get us the receipt for the groceries.
Yeah.
Like, you're not dealing with no goofies. We ain't just giving. We like, no. Because we had already had it in our mind. It wasn't even a ballpark figure. We had already discussed all this before he got there. We giving this boy, we ain't giving him $1 over $600.
Right.
We was already in our head. We was like, we're not doing it. So after about an hour goes by, I'm finding this, it's salmon, it's all this shit on there that we never even touched. So we like, yo, where's all this stuff at? They put it in a freezer that was in the F. So we like, the total amount of goods was about $320. So we like, even with that, and if we pay the chef and tip him for the breakfast that he made and the one night of dinner he made, it's still, we end up giving him $650 and rolling. But we also took all the shit that he had in that freezer. So what you was doing was you was gonna keep that stuff and then have us pay for it, and just you was gonna double up and actually give it to the next people if we didn't say nothing about it.
Were they using dollars over there? Was it dollars over there?
It was translated to US dollars. No, they don't bang with our money, bro. Right, I get into that too. This is the first time internationally.
300 US.
It was 300. It was like 320 USD.
Okay, all right.
320 USD. I guess in Medellin's about if $1.50. If 300 million pesos is about $80. This was this is over 100 million. This is over a million Colombian peso.
Right.
So
the guy who wanted to get the groceries was banking on y'all just being tourists.
no, I don't think it was him.
You think it was the actual?
It was the owner.
The owner.
Yeah.
Was banking on y'all
Yes,
being
because there's a
tourists.
refrigerator, a huge yes. It was
He's gonna eat it later.
it's a huge refrigerator in the actual house. Why was that stuff out back?
He's gonna eat for a month.
Yeah. No, or he was gonna roll into his next into his next people and do the same thing.
Well, I mean, that's probably deeper than that. I mean, that food probably was already there. They're probably just rolling the receipt.
Yeah. So all in all, we still took the bread. We still took that food and went to our next place, which was a ball. And had we just been in there for the 4 straight days, it'd have been fine anyway. Dude, just was straightforward business dude. He knew the situation. He's just like, yo, we're gonna do it like this. Because Airbnb is probably going to give you problems as far as double booking goes. I know you guys got to get out of there. Sell me the cash. I have my guy. The unit will already be will be clean by 2 p.m. Just head there. Yeah. And even if he needs a little extra time, drop your bags off in the living room. That one, we should have been there from the get-go. It was a block away from all of the nightclubs and the market and things of that nature, a 5-minute ride from the mall. We should have been there from just the get-go. It just...
The other guy had better photography.
Yeah, the other guy had a much better photographer. He was a lot more, I guess, business savvy as far as scumbaggery goes. If you just got a good product, man, you don't got a scumbag, man. Just...
Well, I mean, does it go back to the whole thing you say? I do it all the time, right? The $50,000 client's like, yo, it's done yet? Cool, let me know when it's finished.
Finished, yes.
The $50 client's like, yo, I need that done tomorrow.
Every 3 hours, every 30 minutes.
Yeah, same thing.
Yes, it's just more so that. But all in all, first half of my trip stank. Second 2 days, great. The next house was amazing. Didn't have to buy any cabs anymore because we weren't in the mountains. We walked a block to the club, to the hookah lounge, whatever it is that we wanted to do to eat. All right. Oh, random tidbit. Matt Pablo Escobar's older brother. Very random.
That's well.
Yeah, very, very random. And he was a cyclist. He was famous before Pablo. That's very random, but that happened.
Famous in the country.
Yes, he was famous.
And
Yeah.
Pablo got famous in the country.
Well, they both got famous because they were the co-founders of the cartel.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so now we get into the escape from Colombia part. I have a night flight Tuesday night. I was booked to be back in America by 5 a.m. Wednesday morning. So I'm like, I already had it in my mind. Bang, I get myself together. Click, click, I go to work. That was the plans. I went to the airport earlier because my homie had a flight that was 4 hours before mine. I'm like, yo, that's perfectly fine. I can post up at a restaurant. I can just chill.
That's the usual. I mean, even still, like the red eye in LA is like a flight at 9.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get to the airport around like 6 and just chill.
So let me give this. He goes and gets on his plane. He is sitting on the jetway watching a plane land in the airport. They're probably just thinking it's a landing flight. No, this flight had just took off and was re-landing. Technical difficulties. As it was landing, the landing gear catches on fire on the runway. So now they stopped it. Well, it gets stopped. They get the plane evacuated, and the plane's still on the runway. This airport, the airport in Medellin, Colombia, has one runway. They did not have the proper equipment to tow the plane off of the runway. The plane was stuck on the runway for 8 hours. It canceled every flight for the rest of the day, and this happened at 2:45 p.m. So originally they pushed my flight back to 3 a.m. I'm like, all right, I can't leave the airport. So I've already dealt with the fact. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna be here all day. It's fine, whatever. I'm getting out of here tonight. I'm not gonna be back at 5 a.m. anymore. I'm gonna be back at 10 a.m., which is whatever. It's fine. I'll be late to work, but I'll be back in America. Around 9 p.m., they changed it again, which I thought was about to be something positive. The flight now has been pushed up to 1:45 a.m. Bet. Okay. I get to midnight, 12:30 a.m. So this is now Wednesday morning, Tuesday night. American Airlines is regretfully informs that your flight's been canceled. We will update you with information when it's available.
Just straight cancel like that.
So, all right, cool. Now the flight's canceled. I sat in the airport all day. I could have got a hotel room. So I'm like, all right, well, forget American. They're going to reschedule this. I'll just get a refund for the flight. What's the earliest I can get out of here tomorrow morning? I book a flight. Oh, for anybody who's ever flying to Colombia, it is going to be the path of least resistance to book this airline, but I highly recommend you not booking it. If the flight says Avianca, do not do it. It is their airline, so it's the most frequent flights, but this shit is Spirit.
Oh, it's the end country. Like
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I learned that the hard way, too.
They will fuck you over.
Yep.
Everything's a fee, and their service stinks, and they canceled my fucking flight, and I didn't know. So, yeah, that's a whole other story. So, I'll get into another deep dive at some point because I'm already dragging along with this. Long story short, I end up in Colombia for 2 extra days. One of those days spent in the airport. The other day, maybe a fourth of the day spent in the airport. And then I just was like, once I owned up to, I got the email from American, like, yeah, you're not leaving until 7 a.m. on 8 a.m. on Thursday. Once I got that late Wednesday morning, early Wednesday afternoon, I was just like, okay, I'm getting out of this airport though. Went, got a cab to the nearest hotel, and just locked in there and took a shower, slept in the bed like a human being. I was in refugee mode for a whole day and a half though. It was wild. But all in all, I'd go back to Colombia. Yeah. I'd go back to Colombia. I want to see other parts now. Medellin's in the mountains, but you have the Cartagenas and places like that are like oceanfront. Like Medellin, it was like, so when you come into the airport is not actually in Medellin. It's about a half hour outside of Medellin. When you leave the airport and you're going towards Medellin, you're barreling through a mountain. It's like the longest tunnel I've ever been in my life. Like if a person gets anxiety and claustrophobia and shit like that, they probably would have had a panic attack in that joint. So you're riding through this tunnel for like 15, 20 minutes. But when you're coming out of it at night, which I did. Oh, I also missed my flight to Medellin. And that became a thing. And I was supposed to be there at 12 noon on Thursday, the previous Thursday. I ended up getting there at 11 p.m. But it was just, maybe it was meant to happen like this. When I came out of that tunnel, you're looking down into the valley in the Medellin. It's some of the most beautiful things you ever seen in your life. Because it's really a city.
Yeah, and it's down under. Yeah.
It's amazing, though. But all in all, congratulations, early congratulations again to K and Whit. I can't wait. May 1st. I'm in here. Best man energy.
Hey.
You know what I mean? Back in effect. So today we back, baby. Weather is breaking. It's 70-something degrees and sunny outside. This weather needed me more than I needed it. So as y'all can see, I'm in my kit right now for those watching on YouTube. This just happened. I just happened to pull up with Scotty. He's like, huh? What you want to do? I'm like, I kind of want to be on my bike, but you know what? I'll take the time out for y'all. I'm going to be out here until the sun go down. Yeah, I'm going to be out here until the sun go down. It is what it is. I'm like, no, today is crazy. I've already been through 3 different parts of the city, and now I'm about to take it out to the county, far county once I leave here. It's a day, and I'm just happy to have it.
It always feels good when you leave somewhere and you come back and the weather's better. Like you went in good weather, right?
Yes.
When you left, it was kind of shitty. Then you went in good weather and you came back.
So,
and like, yo, I'm here.
Unlike I know for a fact this isn't the average person, but me, I'm that person. I don't like being away from home more than about 3 days. 3 days be enough for me. If it wasn't a flight that took like a day for me to get somewhere, if I ain't flying somewhere like Australia, Japan, somewhere where it's like a 23-hour flight, dog, the 3 days was cool. Like, get me back to my crib, get me back to my bed, get me back to my kid. Don't get me back to work. Fuck work. But all that other stuff, man, I'm like, I guess I don't hate my life.
I feel you on that.
You know what I mean? Probably as simple as I can put it. I don't hate my life. So I'm not this person like dreading getting back to life.
All right, so I got a question for you though, right? This always hit me crazy when people be at work and they be like, yo, I can't wait to go on vacation. I'm like, I never understood the concept of vacations. Like, I understand time off and days off, but like going on vacation as an escape from your life, I'm like, I never got that until you just said it and I realized, yeah, I do kind of like my life a little bit.
Yeah, I like my life. Yeah, like listen,
I have to go somewhere.
I am, it's a blessing and a curse that I waited until I was 28 to leave the country for the first time, because I was always a well-traveled person, but it was always domestic. Yeah. But now it's like, I think I'm at an age where I can I really appreciate experiences for what they are. Like I said before, I am not big on, for a person that has nice things, I'm not a person, I don't pay a lot for things, but I'll pay whatever for an experience.
Yeah. You know, it's funny you say that. The best part about, I think, traveling, and like mine came later too, it was like, I think 25-ish, right? But going outside the country and then like seeing how people live in different ways, like there's a higher difference between like poverty and wealth, right? But then like coming back and understanding why people are like dying to come, because I'm saying like people are literally like getting shot up, throwing their kids over fences and shit. I never understood why they would do it until I was there, and then I was like, yeah, that's crazy, because like I get it now.
The thing that
poverty is poverty everywhere.
But that's the thing of why, like, I'll also be in a rush to get back. Besides going to Toronto, Canada is the only place that I've been. That particular part of Canada is the only place I've ever been out of this country that isn't like just completely impoverished. Yeah. Like that, their lifeblood of their entire economy isn't the drug trade and tourism.
Right. Exactly that.
You know what I mean? Just in fairness. So it's like, that should be a thing too. Like, I ain't gonna lie, I can't walk by so many times with kids sleeping on pavements and things like that. And I mean, that was very much the case when I went to Santo Domingo in 2018. That was very much the case a week and a half ago when I went to Medellin. That was very much the case in Punta Cana last September when I went. It was very much the case in Aruba when I went last April. It's just, I am not a person, I could never work in like a children's hospital. For me to not be the biggest of empaths, I'm not the most empathetic person in the world, but maybe that's just with adults. I can't take seeing kids go through certain shit.
No, I'm the same way.
Because I'm not a huge empath. I know that.
I could not live with that energy every day.
No, I couldn't at all, and I don't fake it as if I can. Like, so it's just being out, seeing the world is a beautiful thing, but some of y'all actually owe it to yourself who are, feel like you're in a really tough spot financially and things like that. I think some of y'all get broke, confused with poverty
Oh yeah.
a lot. They are not the same. You know what? So I'll give you. This is the luxury you have when you. Some of people broke or living poor and what have you. You get cases where you're stressed that you can't go out and enjoy yourself on the level that you wanted to because 99% of this quarter's pay went towards your bills. You actually could afford to cover the bills though.
You got bills though. Like you have bills.
You have bills.
You have bills.
Yes, that is not poverty.
Yeah.
That is not poverty. One of my better friends brought things into perspective for me some years ago because he's just like, he's one of the more well-to-do people I know, but his is by way of working his ass off. He told me, shit, until I moved to America, I ain't have shoes. I was living on the island. It's not the same as, I'm not walking on pavement and shit like that. I'm walking on sand and different dirts and what have you. You're like, yeah, I didn't have shoes. I didn't need them.
I know you're talking about.
Yeah, yes, you do.
So I'll speak on that, right?
Yeah.
I'll say.
You know who I'm talking about well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yo. And that same token cannot be out work. Cannot be out work.
No, he won't be out work.
But because it's where it comes from, right?
Yes.
Like you always remember that it can always. I mean, like it's different with poverty, but like the concept of like even thinking about going back to that.
No.
It's not gonna happen.
No. He's one of the people. He is probably top 10 earner that I know personally by way of his job. And makes more than what he makes at his job doing other things.
Yeah.
And still does them all. But it's just frame of reference. When like most of the people I know who are poor don't really complain. Broke people complain a lot.
Well, that's that's a whole other subject.
Yes, it is. Listen, it gets deep. It gets deep, and I ain't gonna roll it out too much because it's gonna be a discussion for another day, and I think I will wait until guests coming soon. People, guests coming soon. I think that's one of those I want to share. I want to have a dialogue with somebody. I don't want to just kind of roll off my opinion about it as if it's the universal opinion. No, there's going to be certain things now that I'm keeping mental note of that I probably won't roll out until I have somebody on here to give either a shared opinion or a conflicting opinion.
I think I agree with that. Certain topics would definitely hit a little bit differently.
Yes.
We can have a discussion.
Absolutely.
Back and forth.
Yes. Some of these I'd be doing a disservice to by just trying to have them on my own. I'm gonna save some of that for another time. So, okay, this the broke thing, and people. I say a lot of broke people complain more than poor people. The broke people and complaining probably is a fair segue into this point. So, we have overcorrected society a lot to the point that political correctness has run amok and has allowed people in certain cases. I think it's done more harm than good in this regard. People are willing to live with the fact that they are not perfect, but people will roll out the quote unquote known imperfection as to why they didn't do something correctly. And a person will be on some BS and then say, well, I'm not this most secure about this, so I gotta. So people are owning their insecurities out loud. In certain cases, cool. But in a lot of those cases, man, I think it's the easy way out. You're attaching it to something like an insecurity that a person really can't say much, can't rebut, really.
Well, I mean,
and you're just using that to own the fact that you did some bullshit. And
even having a conversation is dangerous.
Yeah, but I mean, it need to be had, I think.
I mean the feeling I'm getting is what you're talking about. Like,
Yeah.
it's like certain things that
You're disarming me from responding.
You can't even say anything because like even the act of saying anything is an attack.
Yes.
It's not like it's to the point where like well I mean that's where a lot of stuff came from, right? It was like in order to box you off from saying something, I make the rebuttal like forbidden.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like you can't even rebut it.
So all the stuff's going on now. You had there's been a lot that's happened in the 3 weeks since we've been in here. One of the things has been the either winning or disqualification of the trans swimmer. Even though it was national and worldwide news, it's a local story because the swimmer swims for the University of Penn. University of Pennsylvania, Ivy League University in the Philadelphia area, maybe about 10, 15 minutes from where we are right now. And it led to a bigger thing for me. So now, by way of the cycling, I follow a lot of people who are in prominent positions at some prominent companies within cycling. And just like swimming, a big thing there is, should trans people be allowed, trans men specifically, be allowed to compete with women? And it's wild that we have reached a point that anybody that gives an answer other than yes is homophobic or transphobic.
Yep.
And you have to, people who identify as that or people who are allies of that have to realize how slippery of a slope taking an approach like that is, right? Because you're going to have a person who might not be 100% in favor of certain things, but is a supporter, say fuck support at all and just keep their mouth shut. Because they feel like if I say anything other than just yes, or if I do anything other than pander, I'm going to be looked at as crazy. Or you're going to try and label me something that I'm not. So rather than be labeled as something I'm not by saying a little, I won't say anything. You don't want that either.
I mean, it happened, right? I mean, with the Me Too movement, right? I remember this one was funny. Ben Affleck, right? Tried to align himself with the movement, and they were like, "You can't speak on this." Like, in the past, you harassed somebody, it was like, "I was trying to fix it." You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no, and
you know what I mean. But like, so atonement is real, right? Mm-hmm. And like, you're not even letting that happen. It's just out here just being the loudest voice.
It gets to a point where, and it's not just transphobic. There's a lot of causes nowadays that do this, and I feel like it's done more often than not. You have the cases now where people try and get behind a cause because they feel like you're being marginalized, and the marginalized people want to pick who are the people who can align with them and support them and say fuck everybody else. And dude, what if the majority of people that say fuck you, we tried to help?
Try to help.
It's I'm saying it's tricky. It really ain't that tricky.
It's not.
It's nasty. It's nasty. It's not tricky. Because I can state this clearly. Because it's evident.
I thought it's just a reversal on what happened to them, right? It was like, so like, people are saying that you can't live the way you want to live. So now the reversal of that is that you can't say anything about how I live. Yeah.
And it's just,
and it really fixes nothing.
No, it fixes nothing. It's an ongoing.
I don't care whatever the hell you do. I do think that weight class sports and gender sports are there for a reason.
Yes.
I think they're outliers. I think Venus and Serena are both outliers in that. Like, I feel like they'll kick ass, male or female, no matter who it was, they kick ass.
Simone Biles. There's a few.
Exactly. Some people don't kick ass regardless, right?
But these are once in a generation athletes.
But I mean, like,
despite
right.
gender.
Now, the last time this happened, it was a weightlifter that was a horrible weightlifter. Like they were in like last, like I'm talking about second.
I'm familiar with the story.
They went to the women's class and they broke records.
Broke records,
like,
yes.
It's like that in itself should be a disqualification because you were shitting on one side and now you're good on the other. That's the argument with him. I know.
The argument with him is that he was an average at best male swimmer, and now he's transitioning into women's sports and dominating.
Right.
So it's. It's
that only can work one way, honestly, and I'm probably being sexist with it, but I think it only works one way.
No, I don't think. I think it's safe.
And muscle density.
I think it's safe to say you're not being sexist with it because how often, if it's happening, it ain't national news that it's happening because women who are becoming trans men are not entering the space and dominating. So it's not even news. Even if they're trying to do it, it's not news.
It's not news. Yeah.
So and it's been a thing now. There's a lot of ones now that are breaking because these are people who are trying to qualify for things like the Olympics and what have you. But there was a story now that's maybe about 8, 9 years old of it happened in the state of Texas where there was a lot of backlash and it was national outrage about this. It just was high school sports. I don't think most people cared. But a trans woman, a trans girl, what have you, because it was a teenager, won, I think 3 or 4 years in a row, undefeated, won the state high school wrestling championship in Texas for 3 or 4 years in a row.
Yep. That's news.
Yeah. I mean, it was new. I mean, I got the news up here, and I'm in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And that was, I want to say now that person's probably maybe 22, 23 now. So it definitely, when it started breaking, because I remember it first broke when the person did it as a sophomore. And naturally, I'm not going to, this is such a conversation. It's such a touchy topic for people. And because it's not one for me, I don't want to just go and lay out everything as if it's just so clear cut because it's that clear cut to me because I'm not as personally invested. So I'm not ignorant to that fact, so I won't go but so far into it. But just, if you want help, accept the help. Mm-hmm. Don't pick who you want to be the voice for you. The only voice you can pick is yours. Don't go out here and marginalize people who are the people who have no problem with you living your life the way you want to live it. Because you might turn them off and they won't take they won't take an opposing position. Their opinion might still be the same, but they won't advocate for you no more. You know what I'm saying? So it's a very thin line to walk with that. Another thing that we missed in other news, sports related news, over this 3-week stretch, missed the whole NCAA tournament. Yep. I like on the local side, congrats to Villanova making the Final Four. I am since childhood an adjacent Carolina Tar Heels fan. It is what it is. You know what I mean? For obvious reasons. Yep. But they shocked us all. Wish it could have did a little better. And the final game was up 15-16 at halftime. Ended up losing the international championship, but was an 8 seed that advanced to the national championship that people didn't expect much from coming into the tournament. So, that's dope to see. And I'm just happy to have March Madness back. It's a sign that the world is steadying out again because the previous year it was canceled by way of COVID. Something I never thought I'd see happen in my lifetime.
They tried.
They tried hard. They tried hard, but then when they did it, once they said no NCAA tournament in 2020, it was just like, like this was one of those things you knew when you knew it was real. And I guess still real. Philadelphia wanting to be the front runners of everything COVID related at this point. Philadelphia will be the first major American city to reinstate the mask mandate indoors starting 6 days from today, April the 18th. I guess, man. I'm just. Are we
cases, huh?
Oh yeah, rising cases. Are we just accepted? Have we accepted the fact that normal life as we know it is done from here on out? Like, has anybody besides me just owned the fact and accepted the fact that the world will never be what it was in this country or anywhere else, what it was prior to, what was it, February 13th, 2020?
For some of us.
Yeah, for us here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The American shutdown.
September is when it first started.
Yeah. I'm not talking about when I'm talking about when America accepted the fact that it was fucking here and said, yeah, we're shutting things down. Yeah. I think that was Monday, February 15th of 21. Of 20.
20 shut down by what, 23rd?
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like that.
Yeah, because it was supposed to be 14 days.
A week later.
Yeah, so it would be 10 to 14 days. And it was like, yeah, no, indefinitely everything.
Yeah, every 14 days, another 14 days.
Yeah, it's just, some things for the better. Nobody ever has to hand me. You don't realize how many things were unsanitary until people are faking as if they're trying to adhere to, health-related and sanitary practices, I never need a paper menu again. You can give me a fucking QR code anyway.
Yo, QR code, pay with QR code.
Well, yes. Yeah, give me, you don't have to, the getting a menu on the QR code and them bringing me the bill with another QR code that I can pay, and I ain't got to wait for this waitress who could be anywhere between 60 seconds and 60 minutes to come back and take my money to go get me change or anything else.
I'm good.
I can just do that.
I'm good.
Some things, man, and sometimes it takes some bad things to happen for some great things to emerge. That is one of them. So I take that in stride, but it stinks. And I was happy that I was able to start going out and eating again and not having you got to come in with your mask on, but the moment you sit down, you can take it off.
Yeah, stupid.
That's stupid. It doesn't make sense.
I mean,
It doesn't make sense.
do you have a why? Do you think? I mean, like it changed, but like, do we know why it changed? Or
No, it's weird.
it's just weird.
It's weird. It's posturing. My thoughts on anything that I feel like it's posturing. It's just like, nah, it's not for me. But, it's a point on here that I actually made accidentally by way of one of the previous topics, but it's far from just applies to that. And that wasn't even the point of it's in here. I just said people wanting to join you for something. Wanting to join you, not have you join them, but want you to do it their way. I am not a fan of it. That's me putting it very lightly. It's like the person who asked you for advice on something, then when you give the advice, they tell you how you're wrong and this is why you're wrong. But I didn't offer you my advice. You asked for it.
Okay, all right. So what that is right?
Okay.
People that want the attention.
People want attention, gotcha.
The help with their connection.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
But they just want the attention of it. So it's like they see somebody doing something. It's like, damn, yo, it would be lit if somebody cared about me like that.
Yeah, people want to be a pseudo expert in everything too.
They don't want the help. They just want the action of people giving them help.
Yes, people want to be pseudo experts and life coaches and everything else with everything. So it's like I actually engaged you in this conversation because I wanted you to hear my certain take on something, even though you didn't ask me for it.
Sure.
I want to impress you, and then it's just like I think people missed the mark on that way more than they hit it. I think if the person didn't think you were an idiot before, they typically leave feeling like you're something close to one. Or not even an idiot. They might just think you're a dick. I don't know which one I'd rather be looked at as a dick than an idiot. Yeah, I'm about to say no. Do I know which one? No, I do. I know exactly which one I would rather be looked at as. Yeah,
it's pretty easy actually.
Yeah, I'm not doing it to myself. So it's like at the end of the day, do things. If you really don't charade as if you want help with something that you don't want help with. I am huge on that. There's some things that I probably needed help with initially, but I didn't want help with and didn't know until I just tried to fully embark on it by myself. And if it was something that I wanted done enough, I will eventually seek out the help for it and accept the help. Not tell them this is how you need to do this. Because if I can give you the step-by-step of how you could have did that shit, I could have did it myself.
Right. And then you just wasted somebody's time.
I wasted somebody's time. I wasted both our time.
Yep, you did.
You know what I'm saying? It's just a headache. Who wants it? This thing here, like the podcast. I put it off for a long time. But once it was time and I could have just went and got a little Shure mic or a little Blue and just did different things and all that. No. I reached out to Scotty and I said, I want to do this. What's up? And he told me, all right, for starters, we can do it this way. I didn't say, it should be done this way. If I could have did that, wasn't no point.
True.
You know what I mean? Accept, be receptive. Even if you don't want the help. Even if you don't want hands-on help from somebody. Be receptive and be open to the facts, possibly, that you could be wrong, that your way ain't the only way to get some shit done, that your way might not be the most efficient way to get it done. I think that's more important than any of them. Because a person might be saving you time, resources, money. And in some of your cases, more importantly, might be fucking saving you face. A lot of y'all big on saving face. Let somebody help you sometimes. You know, you're not aware really. You're not truly aware of an outside perception of you until somebody tells you.
It's true.
You can have an idea. You can make assumptions. You might be dead on with your assumption, but you do not know until you know.
It's true.
I had a conversation with a friend about a week ago because it just was it was a lack of communication. And a lot of shit was being inferred. And it's just like, no, we know each other. If we don't need to have, especially, we don't need to have assumptions that aren't favorable ones. You know what I mean? That ain't the nature of our relationship. We just want to be all right. Let's figure it out. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Things were figured out. But it's like, it was a lot of tension there for a lot longer than it needed to be. For nothing.
It's true.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
If I can't find anything, like somebody giving me some keys to the game on something I'm into or whatever I'm doing, and I can't find a way for them to like benefit from it.
Right.
Then I'm really listening because I'm like,
so you said it
really giving me some shit on
some
stuff.
So you got it.
Yeah.
I was waiting for you to get to that part if you weren't.
Yeah.
It's not what are they going to get out of it? What are we getting out of you telling me this?
Exactly. What are we getting out of it?
Yeah, what are we getting out of you telling me this?
Nothing. You better listen.
Yeah. Or even if it turns out to be nothing, but I know that's not what their aim was.
Well, I'm saying that the thing is trying to tell you to be better at something or to do something a certain way.
Right.
And they get no financial or any other gain from it. Like, for instance, like, yo, you at work or on the bike, right? So like somebody walked up to you and was like, yeah, them shoes is dope, but like, I had them, but I tried these, and it took X amount of time off my off my run, so like you might want to try it and just walk off.
Right. Okay.
They're not sponsored. They're not
Yeah.
anything. Just giving you some tips on something.
Yes.
Like, maybe I should.
Maybe I'd look at
it, but it's like maybe I mean.
But that's not a dick move.
But in that case, where it's like you're in the same field and somebody's giving you some keys.
But you know the worst though, the worst thing that happens in those cases, and this is my biggest. This is where I'm bringing it all to. It should be mutually beneficial. Mm-hmm. But you know what it often is? It's a person that, God forbid, every fucking thought that pops into their head don't need to be heard by everybody. They just wanted you to fucking hear what was on their mind.
Yeah.
For no reason other than the fact that it was on my mind. I felt like you needed to hear it.
Yeah.
The people that's the reason enough for are the most disliked people on the planet.
Now, so here I'm about to expand on that, right? So
I want to make sure. Now, I'm not cutting you off purposely.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's catching.
Yeah.
So I want to hear. Yeah. I feel like when I talk, it arms the mic a little better, and it catches you once it peeps you talking from the side. So I just want to make sure you're being heard.
That ask you a question.
Yes.
You give them the answer, but then someone else that they respect more give them the answer, and then they do it.
Yes. Oh. Listen.
Take me there.
I can go. Listen. All right. I'm gonna try not to go too far left with this, right? Because you brought up Me Too earlier, and a big thing that is stated as far as the thin line between certain things where the exact same thing could be said, but it's based on who said it and who did it. Like, all right, so that ain't always a bad thing, but I'll say this, right? A person who you typically know to just kind of go left with things or give bad advice, or even if they give good advice, you never see them apply it and practice to their own life. So you're like, how much of their word can I really take when they know right from wrong and they still do wrong all the time. Opposed to the person who you knows applies and puts these things into practice and they tell you the exact same thing.
Very valid.
That's probably gonna be the one that's probably gonna be when you take action with it.
Right.
So there ain't like just a clear cut. All right. But I see it happen all the time. How many times in this very studio did I tell people you should do this way? I think it'll yield better results and quicker results. And it took for them to fall on their face. Yeah. But there's some people, because you got to realize in the world, there are some people who, whatever you told them, just because it wasn't their original thought, just because you said it, I'm going to do the fucking opposite and see if it works. It's a really weird type of person, but there are a lot of people like that in this world. It's the person that you tell not to do something, and it's like it's the battery in their back for them to go 5 times harder to do the thing they told you not to. You told them not to do.
So, out of about 15 people, maybe 2, with one of them being one of my favorite people, I just love to watch from a distance. Just like see progression, and all it takes was just like just listening, and then expanding on that thought.
That's it. But some people is just, God forbid that every thought that pops into your head isn't like an ingenious thought. Some of the greatest teachers in the world, most of the greatest teachers I know were once great students.
That's how that works.
I mean, you would think.
That's how that works, right?
You would think. Now, I mean, yes and no. I mean, because there's a famous quote and saying that if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And that's just about how far you want to go in certain aspects of life. So I'm going to be fair. I am more often the person who goes alone. Because when I know exactly where I'm trying to get to, I want to go there fast. Everything ain't going to be a 10-year plan. Everything ain't going to be a 5-year plan. So it's like,
it's not a necessity though, because I think but it's an assessment. It's not just you going on your own to go on your own.
Oh, I carefully assess everything.
Definitely an
yes.
Because like if you for instance for anything.
Oh, I have no problem reaching out to people and reaching out. Yes.
It's definitely selective.
Selective as shit. But I know because all right. Even though, and this might be a blocking of a blessing in a sense. I know in certain cases I don't bring shit to certain people because I don't want them with my thing to take it more serious than I am at this point, because that might not be, as far as the things that I'm rolling out at this or that time, that one might not be priority number 1 for me, but it's the one that I brought to you. So you're going to assess it and treat it as if it's priority number 1. And I don't need you reaching out to me every 2 seconds about that thing when I'm trying to get the other things going. In some cases, that can be a blocking of a blessing because a person might, I seen it happen. You know what I mean? I sat in a listening session for, what's the kid's name? Pop Hunter, the one that came out the Corvette song with the TikTok dance and all that. Dog, I was at the meeting when his management laid out his rollout for the material that he had for the album that he was going to be doing. For an hour, 2-3 hours, bro. Of what songs was going to be released, what dates they were going to be released, what days the videos were going to be released. That song wasn't the first, second, or third. Mm-hmm. But it's when it happened, somebody told, nah, this is the one. It took off, and you had to they had to make adjustments. He had to run from it, Subsequently, some other things happened that derailed different things. But that song was not the priority, but became the priority by way of it being what worked. Now, the idea that I'm not bringing to somebody else might be the one that works. And me being the only one with the knowledge and the fact I even want to try it, but it's not the one I want to try first, might be holding me back. I'm not like oblivious to that or ignorant to the fact.
Now, here's the thing. On that same token, being in this studio after sitting in rooms like that and
right.
giving someone advice, and then someone ignoring that advice because you're not on in the same way that they want to be on, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're talking about.
No.
Literally, just
Yes, I mean, think about how many times me and you have given advice to artists about song structure, and they tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm like, dude, you started fucking rapping in jail. I've been reading music since I was 5. You don't know what you're talking about.
I'm gonna drop a name real quick. Like I remember the young boy Yaz was in here just listening. Just listening.
Yo.
Not even doing nothing else but listening. That's all he was doing was listening. He didn't say a single word.
It's wild that you name drop. No, listen, I don't typically name drop for negative. I'll name drop for positive. So I will, if he wasn't heard, he said the young boy Yaz. Not sure what he's going by stage name. Yaz, Yaz the Great, Bashir something or another. But wherever the kid who was the youngest brother in Empire, probably maybe 2 to 3 years before he broke, maybe 2. 2 to 1?
It was that same year. Like
so within
broke, and then the acting
all right. So the blow was probably 2 years, but the breaking of was probably within a year. He would come into here with another artist for their session, and just sit and be receptive. So,
you know what I mean? Like,
also, but his mom, man. Yeah. So the kid was yo, man. I can't say enough positive things. You know. Life might change people. I'm hoping he held on to a lot of that. You know what I mean? A lot of he has a very humble demeanor, you know, and you would sometimes you lose sight of reality with the fact of how a person is introduced to you publicly by way of the persona of his character. Yeah. Because he was a pompous, brash young kid and an asshole purposely by way of a script. But you talk about a positive kid, man, not a kid, a man at this point. But it's a lot of people who, like, I've been around. Mm-hmm. I've been around for some time.
That's why I said information is coming from a place of
right.
place.
But I'm selective in, I don't typically drop a name unless I have a very personal relationship with a person, because I don't want to keep dropping. Listen, I don't like shining the light on too much negative, right?
Yeah.
So,
that's a good one.
But I'm also going to be realistic with myself, and I'm not going to just keep dropping names for the positive, because some of y'all need to be fucking called on y'all shit for the negative. But I'm a balanced person, so I just rather it. I give credit where it's due. I give credit where it's due, especially, you know, when I feel like it's worth speaking on. But you ain't gonna hear me do too much name dropping. Yeah. And you know, luckily, we're working on things and we're getting things situated now to where as though once this platform reaches the maturation point where of what the original plan was from the get-go, which is going to be a lot of interviews and a lot of interacting by way of multiple people, I won't even have to fucking drop with so many names, because I won't have to fill the space with just me. You know what I mean? Somebody else, I'll be talking to somebody. I ain't got to drop a bunch of names. It's going to be a conversation.
Grab whoever you got to talk to.
You know what I mean? Yeah, grab whoever I got to talk to and just roll with it.
Yep.
But I am all for bigging up people for the right things. You know what I'm saying? But some of y'all deserve a well-needed kick in the ass for how y'all doing things the wrong way. Especially some of y'all who I know who have it. Most of the people I know who have it, who ain't getting busy, is in their own way. 90% of them.
Isn't that the whole argument about talent versus hard work?
Yeah.
Or talent, hard work versus, I forgot how it goes. It's doesn't outwork hard work with talent or something like that. Or just
hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah. And it's one of those, you know what I mean? I'm not a big cliche person, but some of them hit the nail on the head. It's just like, it's that. And, you know, I will say this. When I say that 90%, there are times where I fall into that 90%. I probably still fall into that 90% to an extent. Because I'll say this. I have adjusted and curtailed my trajectory. So, like I said, a lot of times, this is still different. Talking and dealing with people is not new to me. It's fine. It's natural. That's why I can talk to y'all and myself in a room for an hour once a week. But a lot of what I did, more so early on than now, was try and put a lot of other people in position to win. And diminishing the fact that I need to win too. So it's a very, you gotta kind of pick the messages. You gotta really peel back the layers of the onions with certain stuff. I was taught to be a very humble person. I was taught to not really celebrate yourself much. If you're doing something that's worth being celebrated, people are going to celebrate it regardless. So, but I never wanted to be the man. And in certain cases, I'll just be fucking frank with it. I ended up being the man, and then it was weird. Mm-hmm. Because with that, it's going to be, everybody ain't going to be fans. Most people ain't going to be fans. You know what I'm saying? You'll be celebrated more, and this is like, it's so cliche, but it's fact, unfortunately. You'll be celebrated by people who are complete strangers, more so than you're celebrated by people who know you. But I'm seeing now it's because that thing that you became good or great at is the stranger's introduction to you. Yep. So the only frame of reference they have is fandom. Mm-hmm. I saw a person yesterday who stopped me in the middle of traffic, bro, in Conshohocken. I had on my glasses and everything else, bro. Love what you're doing, bro. You know what I mean? Shout out to the brother. It seemed, brother's name was Walt, but he works, he's a dean with kids in school. He knows a few of my personal friends, but he just talking about how he admired the grind and how things shook out. And he was actually, I'm heading out. He was parking up to get on his bike. He said, my homies couldn't ride, but it's my therapy. I had to do it. I said, bro, it's the exact same thing. Yeah. Like, I love the reception I get in certain regards, but it's one of the best things in the world because it's therapy for me. I do it for free. I mean, I did it for free. So I'm not mad. I ain't got no survivor's remorse for what's being offered to me now. Because it's not being given. Right. If it was nothing for me, if I offered nothing on the other end, I wouldn't be getting shit. Blessed. Right now in Barnes and Nobles. Not a feature article this time, just modeling for a shoot, but go pick up that newest edition of Bicycle Magazine in your local Barnes and Nobles. I'm in there. Modeled for the shoot for the Tarmac SL6 Specialized bike. I actually have it out back. I'm about to spin up out of here and get some more these miles in on that specific bike. But go check that out. But all in all, I'm back. I'm happy to be back. I'm back on a bike. I'm back in the booth. I'm back on the microphone. You know what I mean? It's still the booth. You know what I mean? But all in all, I'm bike. We bike. Thought you should know that, baby. Episode 10, Thought You Should Know podcast. Deke, ball off to the side. We gone.